Hello, everyone. It is Melissa Davis from By Mimi with Love. And tonight, guys, I'm coming to you once again to do our second week of hashtag Junk Journal with Us, Volume 4, the Hidden Hinge edition, or series, I guess you would say. Last week, if you will remember, we put our book together with our Tyvek, and then we wrapped the cover of the book. So tonight, what we are going to be doing is, of course, covering this part, the inside cover of the book, with our base paper, not our pattern paper. And, hi, Marianne. Hi, Annie. Hi, Carol. How's everybody? It's so good to see everybody. Okay, guys, I was just going over what we did last week was we made our book, remember our book cover, our skeleton, and we wrapped the outside cover. Tonight, hi Gloria, hi Melody. It's so good to see everybody. So tonight we are going to cover our inside cover so that we're ready to put our hinge in, okay? So, what we need to cover the inside with, we know that our book is at 8.5 inches by 7 inches, right? But we only want this paper to sit right inside. So this sheet, the first sheet to cover our middle with, is going to need to be 8 1/4 inches by 11, or 20.59 sit by 16.51 centimeters. This is for these two pieces for the inside cover. We need one piece 8 1/4 by 11, and we need one piece 8 1/4 by 6.5, or 20.59 centimeters by 16.51 centimeters. And of course, then that's going to overlap that a little bit, and we'll have the inside of the cover covered and ready for our pattern paper. And what you'll notice is a real easy way to keep up with this, guys. Whatever we start our book with, this is last week's measurements. So we started with a 7 by 8.5 inch book, or 17.78 by 21.59 centimeter book. Well, our first cover goes down 1/4 of an inch. And then everything else we know is 8 1/4 inch long. And if it's a full page, it's going to be 6 3/4 inches wide, because there is a 1/4 inch border all the way around once we put that on there. Is that making sense? Hi, Veronica. It's so good to see you. Hi, Myrna. Ah, the gang's all here. The gang's all here. But am I making sense? Okay, so all I'm doing, I'm having to do it in two pieces because I don't have a sheet of paper 16 inches long. So I'm doing it with two 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. Okay, so we're going to get that on, and then we get to start our hinge. Did anyone, and something else I do, guys, is I write on my, like this says, 8.5 by 11 front cover because I'm so bad to glue the wrong thing to the wrong thing. So I write myself little notes so I know where it's going, And I'm gonna glue on the shorter side first, and I'm gonna leave those measurements where I can see them so I can refer back to them. But I'm going to glue this shorter side on first. So we need our trusty tape. And I got a brand new fresh roll. I like a fresh roll of tape. It's like new paper. When I was in school, oh, I love to get new paper at the beginning of the year. New notebooks. Probably a lot of us were like that since we're crafters. Anybody else love new paper, new notebooks, all that kind of stuff? Boy, I did. I was all for it. Oh, thank you, Melody. I appreciate it very much. Has anyone started making an album or even thought about making one? I would suggest, if you are interested, but you don't have time right now, maybe just put the 4 videos that we do this with. You can put them in your faves, and then refer back to them because these are going to be up. These hashtag junk journal videos are going to stay up. So make use of them if you so desire because that's what they're there for. And please feel free to any junk journaling or making albums. It doesn't have to be a junk journal. I don't care what you make. I would like to see it. And, put hashtag junk journal with us on it. Because I will see it if that's on it for sure. Because I type in that hashtag and then I just check out everything. Okay. I'm happy with this. So I'm going to take off part of my backing, but only part. I always, when I'm working on an album and all this double-sided tape, I try to leave myself a little bit of playroom. Okay. I'm going to leave this bottom strip on. I'm going to leave these 2 on. And you'll see why. I want it to look nice. I'm covering all of my glue strips in glue sticks. So I've got just a little bit of wiggle room, right? And now I use my slippery side of tape to get it exactly, and I want y'all to see to get that where, see, it's on the backing. So I'm sliding it around exactly where I want it. Then I'm able to hold that in place, and the glue in this side, I just got to smooth down. Then I lift up this side, and I pull off the rest of my tape, and it's going to be where I want it. Instead of fighting one of these pieces of paper with all of that double-sided tape, and the minute it sticks to something, it's stuck. Hi, Corn. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, guys. Oh, my gosh. Oh, I'm so happy y'all are here. If I miss something that I need to know about, Melody, holler at me, or Annie. Okay, so now see all I got to do is just let that fall in place. And it looks really nice. See how that looks? Are y'all been able to see that with the glare? Okay. Then I'm just going to do the same thing with the long piece, right? So let me get it taped up. See if I can see what you ladies are talking about. Who's doing what? I watched Vanessa a little while the other day, and my internet went off watching her. Her and Mrs. Gigi were playing on a live. It was fun. Oh, Corn, I'm so happy to have you here. Bless your sweetheart. Where is that harmonica player? I just loved the last video because he played. He was a lot of fun. Okay. Then I'm just doing the same thing, running the tape. You don't have to put it everywhere, but I put more tape on these albums than I do anything I make, probably because you're putting photos on it. Of course, now you don't want to use like junk paper or junk mail or like regular copy paper with photos because it's not acid free. So this is, the albums I'm going to actually, this album, I'm going to actually be putting photos in. So I don't want any paper that's not acid free or any glue for that matter that's not acid free because it destroys your photos and the paper doesn't last as long either. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to take off most of my strips. And remember, we're going this way this time. One bottom. And I've played with this stuff a lot. And when you pull off everything and try to stick it down, well, if Judy was here, she could tell you because I see her wrap things and use this tape a lot like I'm using it now. And it's easier to get a jump on that fight before it starts. So I'm just going to run my glue over my sticky. And now I'm going to use my shiny part to get my paper lined up exactly where I want it. And then I can just let it fall. And I'm good on that side. And then I just lift it up and remove my last stickies. But that makes it so much easier than trying to get that right every time. And all that double-sided tape is sticking to your elbows and everything. Oh, I forgot a very important step here, guys. Before I press this down, let me show you. I should have done it when I first laid it down before I pulled off my second set of tape. Because you've got to make your grooves right here on your, where you put that 4-inch tape. And you know what? It's still in there too. So there we go. I got to bring that up. I'm so glad you guys were here to see me mess up. That tape has to come out. which ain't going to happen with my nails, so let me get it with my tweezers. Remember the tape that we put there? I often forget it's there, so. It's a little difficult. Sorry, guys, I'm having a little bit of a struggle because I don't want that to glue back on me. Got to get it. Got it. Okay, let me get this one too. And it won't be as hard because I didn't already glue it down. Okay. Now, as we lay this down, we want to make sure that we get our fold line for our book. And you're just going to work with it kind of slow. And lift it up a little more because if you're not careful, it'll crack on you. I can't believe I about forgot to do it. I would have had to totally redo it. Because it's got to be able to bend, right? And I just keep working it slow because if you press too hard and force it, you are going to end up tearing it. So it just ain't worth that. All right, now I'm just going to smooth that down to my next little groove and do the same thing before I glue this bad boy down. And again, I'm just slowly trying to train the paper to work. And get where I want it to be. And I believe I've done it. Of course, I'm going to burnish all this down really well, right? Now, here is our book covered and ready for our pages. I will be putting, of course, I will mat all of this craft paper, and I will be putting like that. So that matte paper will go 1/4 smaller than this. So I know it's going to be 8 inches by 6 1/2 because this is 6 3/4 from here to here. Okay. But now we are ready to make our hinge. When I first start to make an album, the first thing I make is a dummy hinge. And the reason I make a dummy hinge is that tells me how big this spine needs to be. Hi, Dawn. Oh my goodness, how are you? It's so good to meet you. No, I use the glue stick over top of the double-sided tape so I can play and move it around a little before it sticks. And that's just extra glue, but I wouldn't trust just the glue stick for an album. I just use it more or less as a tool so I can kind of move my paper around. even when I'm matting, a picture, I'll do that because double-sided tape sticks so fast, and it gets real angry if you want to move it, guys. It doesn't like to move around double-sided tape. See, it doesn't like that. So, oh, I had to get a drink, guys. Sorry. This is the glue stick. It's an Avery glue stick, and it comes from I bought this at the Dollar Tree. Most of the time, they have their own brand, but occasionally they get the Avery, which I think is an Office brand or some kind. See, Avery. But it's a really good glue stick, and I like it for my glue books and stuff. It doesn't get messy as bad as the Dollar Tree glue sticks do. Okay, now, guys, that is how I measure how big my spine needs to be. Is based on my hinge. So before I even made my cover or did my video last week, I already had my hinge figured out. And here's how you figure out how big your hinge and spine are going to end up being. And I mean this area right down through here, right? So all you got to do is grab your scoreboard or a ruler and a pencil. And this is the piece of paper I'm going to do. This is my dummy one to figure it out. And this is the one I'm actually going to use tonight that will go in my album. So once you make your dummy one with whatever size paper, then you know what size paper you need to cut. So this was my dummy one, and I ended up needing an 8 1/4 by 6 1/2. Then you are going to score at every 1/2 inch on the 6 1/2 inch side. Every 1/2 inch. Now, the reason that you want to do this beforehand is because you're going to score 3 lines for every signature you want. So if you want 5 signatures, you would be scoring 15 lines every 1/2 inch. If you want 4 signatures, like I do, you're still going to score every 3 or every 1/2 inch, but you're only needing to do that 4 times. Okay. So once you've made your 1/2 inch marks, the first score line out to there does not fold. You skip one, you bend it up. The next score line does not fold. You skip one, you bend it up. So you're skipping one in between every one, right? So skip one and bend it up. Skip one, bend it up. Skip one. See, that's 1, 2. Okay, get that right. That's flat. Okay, there's a flat one there. Yep. Oh my goodness. Yes. Melody? Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry. I get so lost, you guys. Thank you, darling. This tape is from Amazon, okay? And it's their off brand, but it works really, really well. This is the one from Chinese that we all know does work really well. But the very best is this one from Amazon. I'm not sure what the name of it is, or score tape. Yeah, you want to use a good tape because that's why I don't mind to use the glue stick with it, because these need to last, right? Okay, so come back up. And this is just a matter of mountains and valleys, right? You are going to make a mountain for every signature that you want. This paper does not want to bend at all. Okay, let's see if we've got it now. There's 1, 2, 3. Oops. 1 more. 4. I still bent it the wrong way. This paper is being so hateful. I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me. I know, right? Yeah. Okay, we got 1, 2, and that goes there. No wonder the problem. So there's 3, and here is our last one. This thing does not want to bend. Okay, now I've got 4 mountains, right? There's a 1/2 inch space between each one, because these albums get thick when you put 100 photos on them, in them. Hi, Robin. Guys, I need a little drink. So I leave some people just to 1/4 an inch between. But I like to put as many photos as I want, and I like to use old jewelry. So I put a 1/2 an inch in between. Then once you get this cut and scored, and folded, it is going to be our hinge. So we've got to turn this over and put tape on every mountain. Oh, and this is how you know how to measure. Once you've got this made and taped together, it's better. We'll measure it again. But once you've got this made and it's taped together, it's going to tell you how many inches you need your spine. This I need 2.5. And that's what I made my spine, is 2.5. And that's how I determined it, was how wide this is. Because this flat side and this flat side sit flush right here on your book, because they can't go into the fold, or the book won't open and close right. Okay. Gosh, guys, sorry I keep calling. All right, so the next thing we got to do is put tape on our mountains. All of these get tape. And you want to make sure that you don't get any tape on the score lines. See, no tape on the score lines. And we're doing mountains only on the back side of the mountains. This is our last one. You see, I've used this paper before. But no one's going to see that. They only see this side, right? So, of course, we want to burnish this. And then we want to pull it one at a time. And you just glue it to the other side of its little mountain. We burnish again. And see, all we've done is glue our little mountain together, which is making our first hinge for us. Okay? Because remember, that glues down flat. Oh, Corn, good night, sweetheart. Questions. Signatures first. What do you mean, my love? The signatures, no, you're going to build your hinge, and then we're going to build our signatures and add them into the hinge, onto the hinge. Is that what you're asking me? Yeah. Once we build, and I'll show you here in just a few minutes, once we build this, I will show you how the signatures go on it. So I wanted 4 signatures, right? So let's have okay. See, now we've got 2. And I'm not sure what you mean, Melody, my darling. Yes, we do the hinge first, because this hinge will determine how wide our spine needs to be, right? So we're going to do this as our hidden hinge, and then here in a minute I'll show you how that works. So this is the hinge that we're making right now. Now we've got all of these glued together, right? And here is our 2 little flat sides. Which sit right here perfectly in between the 2 book folds. That's got to be in between. Okay? Then you're going to, of course, burnish all of these folds. And you want to take them both ways, because we want our book to be able to open and close, or the pages to lay down and go both ways. I'm going to erase this little bit right here because you won't see the hinge, but you can see the inside of the hinge. I've got my measurements before I forget that. I'm just working down these little hinges so they get used to going both ways. Now, what happens is I put tape on both sides of these, right? Then I glue this down, and I've made a page to show you all. This is what is called a base page. It has a top and a bottom, and it just comes together to make like an envelope that's open on both sides. And all you're going to do is slide that onto the hinge. And then that will lay like that, open and close. And that is the hidden hinge method. Okay? And that's how that works. That's why all of this has got to be glued so well, because you see what it's doing. Okay? Now, let's say that, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go ahead and get this ready to go down. Get our hinge ready, okay? Now I'm going to turn it over on its flat side. And this is where you want your good tape. And you want to cover it completely, because you certainly don't want to pull the whole, pretty much the guts out of your book. So on this one, I'm going to try not to leave any spots. You know, glitter just shows up on my desk. I might not have used glitter for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden, it just shows up, and then it's on my forehead. I have the worst problem getting glitter off of my forehead. I don't want to get that mixed up. Try this one again. This is one reason these albums are, you'll see on Etsy and stuff, when people make them, they can get very pricey because the glue, you know, you can't use just any glue or they will come apart. You got to use a pretty decent heavyweight paper. Now, let me cut maybe I'll cut something. If I can find my scissors. Okay, so I'm going to cut this extra off. And I'm going to burnish that. Now, see, this is a really taped up like that. It's easy to measure it and see, oh, it's going to fit perfectly. But when it's jumping around and stuff, you know, not so much. I hope I've said hi to everybody. Thank you guys so much for being with me tonight. It really, really means a lot tonight. Okay, so now I've got to put tape on each side of my hinge, making sure not to get it down near the score line. Stay up here. So I always just use the top of it as my guide. And that way I don't get tape on the score line, because it will mess up the book opening and closing if you get tape into the score line. The hinge will not work as well. And this hinge does work well, guys. I've had albums that I made almost 7 years ago using this method, and they work just as well as they ever have. So Robin said you make albums too, Robin? Did I read that right? Oh, Marianne, you're so welcome, sweetheart. I just so enjoy this. I just hope everybody's understanding what the heck I'm doing. I'm a trying and a trying. It does take a minute too. I know it does, guys, but you know, if you've never done it, once you've seen it, it's not that big a deal. But until you see it and tried it, it just can be confusing. And I just wanted to do it all, not just certain parts, but to show yuns. To show yuns. Yeah, I'm from Virginia. To show you guys. And it's worth it, you know. And that way you see it all. Now see how nice my little... The last thing you are going to do to your hinge is you are going to bring up every valley just like this. And you are going to snip off above the score line a little corner. Okay? On both sides. And just a little bit. And it helps your pages slide on so much better. Just cutting just a smidgen. See? Just a little bit, guys. Because, I mean, the hinge is going to determine the success of your book. Because if it's got glue in the folds and stuff, believe me, I went through it, guys. Okay, so our hinge is ready to install. It's snipped on both ends. It's got glue all the way back. You don't want to put this down and then try to do all this work. You want to make sure it's done first. Now, here is the page, right? This page has to sit right over top of that hinge. And it will lay down just like that. Okay. This is how you make there will be 4 of these. I want 4 signatures. So this is my base page. Okay. And in order to, oh, Robin, wow, where at, darling? Where will you be in Virginia? In order to make your base pages, I need to show you that because here are the hinge measurements. Anybody needs to write that down. It is 8 1/4 by 6 1/2 or 20.59 by 16.51 centimeters, and then score at every ½ inch or score at every 1.27 centimeters. Okay, we're getting ready to do the top base. The top base you will need 4 of, and they are 6 3/4 by 8 1/4 or 17.14 centimeters by 20.59 centimeters. The bottom base is a bit longer, and it is 6 3/4 by 9 1/4 There's an inch difference if you notice, which is 17.14 by 25.5 centimeters. And the reason for this is cut exactly like that, is you score a ½ inch on each side. And that's the short side. That's why you need on the bottom base, you need that extra 9 or extra ½ inch. You go from 8 1/4 to 9 1/4. An extra inch because you're taking a ½ inch here and a ½ inch there. And then that sets there flush onto that. And that is how you make the base page. So, I don't feel like you all need me to show you how to cut paper. So, I went ahead and I've got both sides or both sizes. Here is the bottom base, and it is 6 3/4 by 9 3/4. And then here is the bottom base, and it's 6 3/4 by 8 1/4. Okay. So once you, let me set the hook out of our way for just a second. Once you've got your pages cut, it doesn't want to stay down. Oh my goodness. What have I done with my scoreboard? Now that's funny. I can't even find the scoreboard, guys. It's probably under me somewhere. Yeah. Okay. I must be looking over top of my scoreboard. I'm crazy, guys. Okay, so you're going to take your bottom base, the longer piece, and you are going to score a ½ inch on the bottom, and a ½ inch in on the top. Then all you do is fold that in, right? This paper is really stiff. I have to work with it slowly or it'll crack. And then you glue this page to those two lips, right? Now, once again, you want to use your double-sided tape. So I'm going to stay away from that score line, like on the other things. And this I want to, go on nicely and look nice. So again, I am going to snip off these little corners the same way I did on the hinge. That way it's not poking out, nothing's seen. Everything will slide in and out of your pockets easier. Then once again, I'm going to lift up one tape at a time. Apply my glue gun or my glue stick. And then I'm just going to I'm going to have to hold this up to me to get it right, guys. Sorry. I'm going to totally mess it up. Okay, so glue that together. You open that up, burnish it down. See, there's nothing sticking out the sides. See how nice that looks? So, hi, Zoila. Oh, my goodness. And then we're going to do the other thing, or the same thing right here. So, just take up and see how much easier it is if you just do the one side at a time rather than fighting something with double-sided tape on it, you know. And there is my second signature. So, and I will be doing 4. So I'll have to make 4 of these. But you see how easy that is. Now, once we get the signatures made, because next Thursday when I come back, I will have all the signatures made and ready to be, because we're going to make all of them and put on our flip pages and all that before we insert them in the book. Okay. So I'm going to have all of the base pages made so we can start, using our pattern paper and doing fun stuff. Right, Zola? I do it too because I never get it right the first time either. And I don't care what you're using double-sided tape for. If you will put a little glue stick on it first, your chances of success are so much better. I'm going to grab a drink, guys. Okay, excuse me. Now, let's say you do want to add a page. You want a whole nother page. We already know that our page is 6 3/4 inches long, right? Or wide. And we know our pages are 8 1/4. So, in order to add a page, I'm simply going to add a 1/2 inch, a 1/2 inch, which would make this 7 1/4, and still keeping the same length. And the reason I'm adding a 1/2 inch to my 6 3/4 inch width is so I got this 1/2 inch lip, which again I've cut off on the sides. Then all I've got to do is put that down and then take it making sure we stay off of those score lines, right? And down it goes. And we've got a whole new page. You see that, guys? We could put another one on here if we wanted to. We could put one on this side and have it flipping this way too, which we might do. Yes, Melody, what? How many photos will this hold? With the 4 signatures, I should be able to get about 15 in each one. That is why I leave a 1/2 inch side in between mine. And it is hi, Lisa. But that's why I leave a 1/2 inch or 1.27 centimeter space inside these, because it holds so many more photos if you do. Because, like, I've added a page. Then I might add a flip, and everything is going to hold 2 or 3. So for every page I add and then photos, it's going to get thick. But with this, because see, this is going to go on like this, right? So by the time you do that and you add photos to each one of these, it's going to get a little thick. It's much better if you do it in between. Oh, Lisa, I am good. How are you? I don't know if she's asking me or Zoila. But hi, Lisa. Anyway, bless your sweet heart. It is so sweet of you to stop by. So, what we can do is glue in our hinge, and we're ready to add our pages, because after we build our pages, then we want our mat to go on them, and that's the fun part, right? So I'm looking forward to that, because the pattern paper, the C paper, actually goes on that part. I like to do small flips too, and if you're going to do and you're going to have scrap paper left over, like from your 12 by 12. Well, I mean, all you got to do to make that a flip is you want to stay within your measurements, of course. But let's say on this same signature that I want to put a flip. So I cut it. I'm going to squirt that 1/2 inch place. Right? Make my fold. Again with the tape. Always with the tape. Where is the tape? Okay. And I'm always going to be doing this number right here, because it just looks so much nicer if you do. Now, I can take this flip, I could put it here, right? Inside the other pocket. Or I can take this flip and put it on the top. Put it on the top of this one. Put it on the bottom. Because you're going to decide all that, what you want, in your signatures before you want you to put on your pattern paper or do anything major. You want to get as much done to these in the construction of them anyway before you start doing pattern paper, because you don't want to glue this on top of pattern paper, right? If it's already glued down, then the pattern paper is going to show or hide that little lip right there. So always be thinking about that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Okay, so since we've got this flip made, now we could also go inside where the first flip was. But that makes that fold there real thick. So what I want to do is put it right here on the front. And then when I cut my pattern paper, of course I've got it bent the wrong way. But when I cut my pattern paper, you won't even be able to notice that. You see what I mean? I am in Marion, Virginia, which is very close to Lynchburg. My daughter graduated from Tech, Virginia Tech, Robin, and Lynchburg is pretty close to me. Um, I'm a little southern, more south on 81, in Marion, Virginia. Oh, I've been missing up on some good stuff y'all been talking about. Okay, so I think what I want to do is put it right there. And it's the same routine every time. I don't know why. I don't just grab my needle to start with. Put a little bit of glue to this because I don't know what it is. Oh, there it is. I got my pen in my mouth, so I was just talking away with my pen in my mouth. And there I have a flip, right? Don't want that extra glue over there. Get rid of that. But see how much that one signature can start to hold a lot of photos. I mean, it doesn't take long. Also, on this part over here, I will probably keep that as a pocket with a 6x8 tab in it, so you can take it out and put about 4x6 photos on it. You know what I mean? You're trying to move to Lynchburg, Robin? Where do you live now, Robin? Okay, did everybody get this? How I did that? And then let's just glue it in. So we've done that much together. Everything's been done together. Let me make sure I've got my book. No, that would be the other side. Okay. And see, it fits really nicely there now because you've got that lip over here and lip over here. And this stays on. Do not, this won't come off until this tape right here won't come off until I'm ready to put in my signature. But this part can be done, and we can also cut our pattern paper for these two inside covers. I'm just removing the tape, taking off the tape, having some fun. Actually, I have major wars with glue, y'all. I'm telling you what. Sometimes I get so frustrated with my glue, I can throw it in the trash. If you don't want it to come out, it comes out in streams. If you need it to come out because your hands are full of two things, oh my gosh. I mean, it's just, and mine always does that. Now, I am on, no, I'm not going to use that on there. What am I thinking? Got a little piece of paper stuck in my tape. So again, I'm just going to cover this part with my glue stick. I did it again. Oops, I did it again. And then, same as before, I'm going to use my shiny side to get my paper exactly where I want it. And then down it goes. And I go in between it and push that one down. Then I can lift up. See how much easier it is if you don't try to do the whole thing at one time? Do you do that, Robin? Is that your method? Or are you able to glue all at one time? Because I am not. Okay, we got one more. And now you guys see how nice that is? And they fold very, very nicely both ways. That's why you don't want to get your glue on your hinges, because they won't fold back and forth very nicely. So there we have our book with our hinges in it. And all we got to do is add the paper. And the paper will be 4 signatures. That sit right like that. And open like that. What do you think, guys? Oh, you do it like I do? Or you're fighting a war, because and the double-sided tape will in fact win. And if you mess this up, it looks really bad. If you don't mess it up, you never notice this, okay? Because you've got 4 signatures there. So if you don't mess it up, you never notice it. But if you mess it up, then you notice it. Oh, it shows up. So, but the glue sticks help so much. It really does. It just gives you some, move around time that you don't have. And you want it to be ridiculously strong tape, right? Of course you do. But you got to be able to work with it a little. And I cannot work with it at all. So I'm erasing my marks there. I'm very happy with my cover. I'm happy with how it's shutting. It looks very nice and neat. It's going to be gorgeous with the pattern paper on it, of course. So did we cover everything? We did our inside cover. We did our hinge. We did our top base page, our bottom base, and we added a full page to the journal, or to the album. So next week when we come back, I will have all 4 signatures ready. Well, at least 3 ready to put in. I may have a couple more cute flip things to show you guys. And then we can start. But I won't put this on here until I get pattern paper on here. So next week we should be able to start using our pattern paper. Okay. Is everybody with me? Has everybody got this hinge thing down? Because this is, it's the guts of your book. You got to be able to do that. And, the rest of it is just attaching flips and having fun. Yeah. Secret boxes, pockets, and decorating them. Really, once you have this hinge down, then, and remember, guys, this hinge is the same height as your base page, okay? Same height. Where you cut the corners right there, it will fit just fine over top of it. You don't want to make your base page any smaller. It's the same size, and once you cut these little edges, they just sit on there perfectly. So, Why I don't want to glue down before the pattern paper? Well, I will show you why. Okay, here is a piece of my pattern paper. Actually, I'll use a piece. All right. But let's say this is my pattern paper. And I'm going to know what size I need my pattern paper because I'm going to take it down 1/4 of an inch or 1.27 centimeters. It's 6 3/4 by 8 1/4. So I need it to be 6 1/2 by 8. So I need a piece of paper that is 6 1/2 by 8. Okay. So this, let's pretend this is my designer paper, right? This is my pattern paper. Well, how much easier is it to glue this on my desk like this? I'm gluing that on my desk. It's going to fit perfectly. There's my pattern paper. How much easier is it to do this than to put this on, have it attached, and be working out of this book the whole time when I can just work on that signature and then glue the whole thing in ready? And I'm not having to fight with hinges. I'm not getting glue all over my, because when you try to do it inside, your album cover becomes a glue mat. So I always do everything outside. Also, it would be much harder to put on flips, to put on magnets. I do all that before I glue it on. Once I glue it on, it's ready to go. It's easier, like for instance, of course, it would be easier to glue mat on this than it would to glue it in the book and then put a mat on it. You see what I'm saying? Yes, I am using this. This is going to be an album. My son and got married, guys, in August. And I want to make, they went to the beach for their honeymoon. And I want to make a album for them for Christmas, right? With all their beautiful new pictures. Well, my son was even wearing blue. And our sweet friend Melody happened to be able to help me out with this gorgeous pack of paper. And oh my gosh, guys, look, it's so pretty. And it is Stampira's Sealand. That's why I use, because you can use the pattern paper to wrap your photo album. I've done that too. But I've got 10 double-sided pages and 2 single-sided pages. I had to I had to be I have to be careful and use my paper carefully. So, I know I've got enough. I don't want to get to the end to the fourth signature and not have any paper left. Also, I know if you're like me, you look at a pack of paper like this and you fall in love with certain pages, right? You're just like, oh, that one's the prettiest. That one's the very prettiest. That's the one I want to use. Well, if you use all of your best paper in your first signature, it's like someone that is writing a story and doesn't write the end to the story. Your album looks so awesome because you used all the good stuff So by the time you get to the last signature, it's looking a little rough. Because, see, if I like a piece of paper, man, I'm all over it. I want to use it, right? I'm just wanting to use it. Um, if you find a piece of paper more boring, you're not as apt to use it. So mix your paper up. Think about what you're doing, how you want to use your pattern paper, how much you've got. Because not only am I putting photos in here, but if I put, like, let's say I just make this a photo pocket her to for them to have 5 extra photos in. I would still want all of those matted. I would want to mat the photos. You don't want to really leave anything in a album that isn't matted, or like if you covered this with the 12 by 12 paper, then it wouldn't be matted. You might not necessarily mat it, but anything that you use that's a base page, whether it's black, cream, craft, whatever, all of that needs to be matted. Don't let someone open up one of your little flips and see brown craft paper. You know what I'm saying? Every little thing. So when you think about doing all of that, you know what I'm saying? When you think about all of the real estate that you're going to have to cover, you really do want to be selective with what paper you cut up and just using your best pages. So, anyway, that's me just rambling on, guys. Looks like we have lost Melody. Good night, Melody. And I am praying for Jim tonight. And, guys, I guess that's all that we needed to cover tonight. I hope everybody was able to understand. Marianne, I hope you're following me, sweetheart, because I just adore Marianne. And the one thing that I would ask everyone is to go over and sub to everyone's channel that was here. Make a new friend. Um, I just think that's always awesome to do. Is there anything else that I need that any more questions or anything? Because next week is going to be fun. We get to start putting on our pattern paper and showing you exactly, how you do this. Oops. I just love it. I love making albums. I love making junk journals, but I like making albums too. I've made a lot, and they're a lot more precise. You have to use measurements, and I think that's some of the reason that people avoid making the albums is if you don't measure everything, and you'll see, guys, how close my lines are. Let me get it up here where you can see it. Y'all see how close all those are running across? And that just makes such a difference in the look of your album, because when you open a book, most of the time the cover's not all off or anything, especially if it's an expensive book. And this is an album for my daughter-in-law and son. I want it to look nice, right? Thank you guys so much for stopping by and being with me tonight. Had a rough day. This is just what I needed. You guys are great. I love you all. Have a great night, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.